We're live. Olha, Maksym, hello and welcome to Mapping Ties. How are you doing today?
Hi, Anna Maria. I'm good, thank you.
Maksym, and you're not in the same office, right? You're not in the same location today.
Yeah, by different location, and hello to everyone.
Wonderful. All right, so we're starting quite naturally with a round of introductions. Tell us a bit who you are, what is your role at the moment, what's keeping you busy, and then we'll zoom out from there and zoom in afterwards. So, Olga, tell us a bit about yourself.
Thank you, Anna Maria. So first of all, I want to thank you for inviting us to this podcast. You're doing a great job with mapping types. I learned a lot from it myself. It's an honor to be among such speaker, as people from Microsoft, Uber, Lego. So thank you very much for inviting. So what about me? My name is Olha Marchuk, formerly Maksymets. I'm an employer branding professional with an experience in tech and non-tech companies like PwC or PricewaterhouseCoopers. I'm now I work at Luxoft. It's a global technology company, specializing in enterprise technology services for industry like automotive and finance, etc. And yep, I'm a part of this communities project at Luxoft. When I heard for the first time about it, I was sure I want to join it. So yeah, it's shortly about me. Maybe you have questions how employer brand is connected to communities. So
Oh, we'll
I
get to
can let you
that.
know. Yeah.
We'll definitely get to that. Cool, thank you. Maxime, what about you?
Okay, so my name is Maksym Vyshnivetskyi, and I'm also working for Luxoft for last 10 years actually. And my role, technically, I have two roles probably within our company. The first one is I'm running our quality team across the company. So we are responsible for keeping our software development on the highest level, highest possible level of quality. And then another role is chapter lead for project management chapter, because quality is not feasible without proper project management attention.
Wow. All right, so you are an engineer at core.
Technically, no.
Cool.
So my path or career path in IT sphere started from project management. And I can say that first 10 years of my tenure, I was acting as project manager, program manager, division director. And the next part, it was, let's call it on the dark side of engineering. It is in quality assurance. So I changed the role, changed the head. And right now I'm doing the same stuff as I was experienced when other quality assurance colleagues did with me. So it's a kind of a change of the angle of view on project management and project execution.
Right. Okay. I'm super excited because usually the folks we've been talking to mainly so far were coming from a human resources background, a learning and development background. So I'm really, really excited to talk with you both coming from a totally different angle, but still being very involved with internal communities work. Before we deep dive into the deeds and we talk about your communities, why don't you paint us a general picture of Luxoft as a company? Where are you based? What is the company doing? And then also maybe a bit of the community ecosystem and where does that live within the company? And I'll pass this to Olga to kick us off.
Okay, thank you. I may start, and maybe Maxim will be, happy to continue. So first of all, we are a pretty big company. We are we have around 18,000 employees, I think so. We are a global company, and we are a part of DXC technology company, which is on the 500 Fortune list. So pretty big. We have a lot of offices around the world. I'm not sure about the numbers, but it's almost, I think, 20 offices. I mean, 20 countries. Yep. What about, so what we are doing? We are providing technology services, but I'm pretty sure Maxim can tell more about that. But if we're talking about community, so most of our employees are like techies, yes, so from technical backgrounds. That's why we decided to have this global technology communities at Luxoft. We have 11 global communities, which actually, are pretty big. I think so, from 300 people to 2,000 people each. Yeah, they're global. They're pretty big. We speak in English. We cross location communities. So very interesting to talk about that later. So maybe Maxim, would you love to give more details about our products and services we provide to clients? Because
Yeah,
I'm
maybe
not.
a couple of words about that. So yes, a global company. We are mostly focusing on automotive software development, bank and capital, and a lot of others. And among this diversity of projects, diversity of domains we are operating in, it provides us with a better understanding of how software engineering should be done, software engineering, software construction, I would say, and that's provide us with a lot of insights. So that's why chapters is the moment one of our cornerstones or pillars of how we do the work, and we already see that chapters is a part of our offering. So our clients, they see that we can aggregate the competence, and this competence can be shared for their projects, and it definitely increases the value we can deliver to the clients.
So when you say chapters, Maxime, are you referring to communities as chapters, or are these kind of
Yeah,
competences? It's
I
just
think
another name for
in
communities
our case we can use chapters and communities as the synonyms.
and synonyms. All right. Okay, this is very interesting. So we have 11 communities centered around tech, and they are relatively big, distributed. So that means that there is this strong online component to that. 300 members up to 2,000 and more members. So first of all, where does both of your roles fit into those 11 communities? Because Maxime, you're coming from quality control and project management. Olha, you're coming from employee. I keep on want to say employee experience design. It's employer branding. So how does that fit? So how's your role overlapping, and what's your contribution to these 11 communities or chapters? Maxine, let's start with you.
Okay, so I'm responsible for one of those chapters or communities. It's a project management. We have approximately 850 project managers and scrum masters within Luxoft, but the community, by the way, is much bigger. It's twice bigger. So here is some kind of a difference between maybe terms of chapter and community, because chapter, first of all, aggregates people with some specific domain knowledge, and community also provides us with wider audience. So because if I'm a software engineer, I'd like to be project manager somewhere in time, I can join this community. So I'm running this project management chapter. Each chapter and community, they have their chapter leads, so people who are driving that, who are responsible, and all of that is feasible because of our employment branding team, which is some kind of an umbrella and our main driver to deliver the value of chapters and communities.
All
Yeah, thank you
right.
very much, Maxim. I would also add here. So, um, just to like once again, so each community, so we have 11 communities, and each community is led by a community lead or one or a few community leads. Yes, definitely, who has this expertise in respective domains. These community leads, they listen to the needs and capabilities of the community, and they set up agendas accordingly. And additionally, each community has, let's say, like a marketing expert, like me, for example. These are people from employer branding who has this like marketing expertise, and they help the community with communication, events, PR, marketing materials, promotion, events, etc. And additionally, yes, each community also have their active contributors who, like volunteers who speak at events, who share their knowledge, share some information or valuable content with the communities and the community group. They may write some educational posts or articles and, create value for the community. I hope it's much easier to understand now.
Totally. It makes so much sense. And I'm really happy that we have Maksym as a representative of a leading of one of these communities, and you all are kind of a representative of the employer branding umbrella. Because I admit we haven't talked to anyone so far that had this kind of internal communities having the strong ties to employer branding or internal comms. And I'm interesting to know what are your attributions, right? So where is Maksym's role starting as the lead? What are some of the decisions that you're taking, Maksym? What are some of the things that you can put out there and decide and steer? And where is it that you're pulling Olha in and her colleagues? So for what types of tasks? When is it that they come in? For what type of support?
I think we can reflect it as a verticals and horizontal. So each community is a vertical, and employment branding is a horizontal service which makes all this stuff available. So we have, I would say, maybe two types of activities overall. So some activities are cross chapters, and they are mostly driven by our employment branding team. So they are supporting, organizing that. They provide us with some guidance, and some other activities which we are doing in our verticals. So each community, with the help of community leads, have their own agenda. So it doesn't mean that we need to duplicate some activities, because all communities, they are different. Even if we have some specific technology communities, like for instance Java community or .NET community, so they both about some languages, but still activities, how to share knowledge, how to attract people, it's up to chapter lead to decide, or community lead. And the role of employment branding to navigate and to provide with some supporting information, because we are subject matter experts in our area. Sometimes we don't know how to write a nice, attractive blog post. We don't know how to organize maybe some stuff which will bring the value and attract people. And here, employment branding experience is crucial, because those subject matter experts in employment branding, they give us inspiration. They challenge us sometimes. So why we decided to do some stuff in that way? Because there are some proven industry standards or approaches how we can do this stuff. So I think that this tandem of chapter or community leads with employment branding is very much crucial and I would say inevitable. Without this tandem work, it will not be so successful.
Yep, I agree. I think, we can complement each other. So we have different strengths, and we just complement each other. We can do, I've saw a lot of times when internal communications or like human resources or any other departments try to start, or L&D, yes, try to start the activities, try to start the communities, especially some technical, some with a deep expertise, communities with a deep expertise, and they are failing because they don't have this subject matter experts who can help them to choose the topics, to understand the audience better, to pick the most important topics to raise, and so on and so forth. And yes, that's why we definitely need this combination of two of us to drive the community in a better way. But without them, sometimes they don't need sometimes, like if like techie people try to start the communities, they are lack of time, let's say. And they don't spend too much time about visuals, presentations, like a marketing part of all of that. So they need.
All right, I really love how you put in the two together, because it almost the driving force of internal communities, especially those that are similar to yours, which are very much linked to streams of expertise. So this is for project managers, and that's what brings us together. This one is for everyone who a programming language, etc. So they're very technical communities of practice. And it makes so much sense for the lead, the people at the steering wheel, to be part of that, to be subject matter experts in that case. And where would they need support is, well, they're probably not community builders. Like, that's not where they're coming from. They're not coming from a background of marketing. They're not coming from a background of HR. They're probably not coming from a background of learning and social learning and so on. And suddenly they find themselves in this new beautiful role to bring people together and be the stewards of connection and of social learning and peer learning, and having all that knowledge kind of flow throughout I love how you explain that, Maksym, the verticals and the horizontals and how that plays out. I think that's a beautiful way to imagine the way the two roles are interlinked. So I would love us to bring this to life with a couple of examples. But before we go there into the very concreteness of the day-to-day and what is it that keeps you busy and what is it that you're doing, I want us to take a step back, because I think before we talk about what the community does, it's very interesting to go back to, why do we even have a community? Right? And to me, it's fascinating that you guys have 11 communities only for tech. And I know that you have many other communities around that, right? So that is massive. Like, we don't see that in many companies out there. And it's fascinating. And I know, Maksym, that you were there almost like at the beginning when some of these communities were initiating. So let's try to go back to that time. Do you recall what were the type of conversations you were having? Like, why are these communities there? And maybe we talk about your communities, because that's your home. That's where you spend the most time. So what is the purpose of that community? Why is Luxoft interested in you spending some time there, and Olga spending time there, and in kind of nurturing and growing these communities? Like, what's the purpose there for the members and then for the organization? Tell us about that.
Maybe to answer that, I need to go even deeper back to history, because I would say this community structure is second, maybe the third attempt to organize people around communities. Mostly our previous attempts were focused on specifically project management. Why? Because project management is a capability which is, again, cornerstone for excellence of the delivery. And project managers, due to the nature of their work, they have to speak, they have to present something, they have to communicate and collaborate. And we had some communities. The last one was, we called it 3L, leadership and something else. 3 words with L. It was maybe 7 or 6 years ago. And it was done pure on some volunteering approach from a couple of people who were just more passionate about project management and sharing the knowledge. This time, this approach with communities was much more structured. there were several goals, I think, which company would like to achieve. So first of all is to keep and grow the competence. Because on a daily basis, we are working in our small silos, in our projects, in our programs with our clients and so on. Because we have, several hundreds of clients and several hundreds of projects, and people have not so many chances to have experience exchange, to communicate with colleagues, to understand what is actually interesting is going on within some projects. So the idea is to make these bridges, small bridges, big bridges, between professionals who are doing the same type of work. So keeping the competence, growing the competence, for sure to have some kind of an entertainment, because all activities more or less have entertainment parts. Because you can participate, you can give a speech, you can write an article, or you can consume this information. If you are not so communicative person, but you would like to be the part of the community, we are humans, we would like to be the part of the community, of the group, because it's some kind in our DNA. So to address this DNA request, it was another goal. And maybe the last one is to build the capability of delivery excellence. Because what our clients expect from us, they would like to receive the service, so they have some need, some pain, and they would like to somehow close this need. And when people within a company have this exchange of knowledge, they can reuse good practices, or, which is maybe even more important, to avoid some fails, that will give an understanding that Luxoft is a reliable partner, which is learning organization, which can gain the knowledge from past experience, actually 22, even 23 years of past experience. So all these goals, objectives, they became pretty much visible at some point of time. And the specific project and specific people up to senior directors were involved to set up this type of community. So I think that when we started this exercise, I think several dozens of people were involved in the preparation. So it was a massive exercise within the company with pretty much goal-oriented approach.
Thank you very much, Maxim. I also would love, as the person who represents, like a HR team. Anyway, I mean, I'm an employer branded team, but it's part of a bigger department. And so from people standpoint, we also aim to bring people together, to give them this feeling of belonging, because I've heard the stories. So, for example, how a project may look like. So it may be like 5 persons on the project, and all working remotely. And I've heard that they have some, there were the case where the person had been working for Luxoft for probably 4 years, and he was the only one in the team. So let's say it's like a .NET engineer. Yes, and he's the only one on his team who has such expertise, and he has never met any other person within Luxoft with the same expertise. They want to speak to like-minded people. Definitely, they're talking about professional stuff, but they're also talking about some external one as well, and they can meet those persons from all around the world. And when they, for example, traveling or something like that, they can connect with those people. So 100% we have this in mind, that we want people to talk to each other, to network, yes, to increase the employee engagement and employee satisfaction for sure. And the second very, very important point here is as an employer, so how employer branding is connected to community and all of that. So while working in employer branding, I realized that we need this ambassadors and advocates to promote our brand externally. But how do we find them? It's not only people who just like working for our companies. Yes, there should be people with a very deep expertise. But those types of people are usually very busy. They are lack of time. They are lack of sometimes skills in public speaking and knowledge sharing and writing articles or whatever. That's why we see community as a solution. Because it's we need to create a safe environment for people to start doing those things. Yes, to deliver some tech talks, to present their thoughts, present their ideas, and so on and so forth. And that's the best place for them to try doing those stuff. We even create some kind of educational programs. It calls like Tech Influencer Bootcamp to help them, to educate them to do that, and to like kind of push them very, very light to push them to start doing that. But yeah, they need that environment to actually practice their soft skill as well, to grow their careers and so on and so forth. And that's how we identify those people who really want to do that, who has an intention to build their professional brand. And that's why it's a win-win project, on my opinion, and that's how we benefit all from that. So we identify those people and we suggest them: would you allow to introduce our company external? Would you allow to go to and deliver a tech talk on a global tech conference? Or would you allow to we would allow to publish your article somewhere on a trusted media? And it's very beneficial for the company and for employees.
I love this so much, because what I take away is I hear I absolutely love, Maxim, that you said we had attempts to start communities, and this was the one that worked. And I'm going to be very curious to hear, why do you think this one was the one that worked? What was so different compared to the second one or the first one, right? But before I go back to that question, what I take away is this, almost like it's a soft spot, a magic spot in between these three strategic directions that are tackling different departments. They're very important strategically for the organization on a very high-end level, but they're also really relevant and very human for the people that are in the community, so for our colleagues, for the members. So I hear the big pillar that Maxim talked about. It's about the skills. We just get better at our jobs by coming together and sharing best practices and making sure that all of the knowledge that we have gathered throughout the years across the different departments and silos flows, and we are able to use that knowledge to get better at what we do, with the purpose of better servicing our clients, which I think it's amazing. I mean, that's what the business wants, right? We want really highly skilled people that are able to deliver excellent you're calling it, I think you call it customer delivery excellence, right? So it impacts the way we are seen as a company outside and the way we work with our clients. So that's, I guess it has the biggest weight in front of the business or for the business. Then we have the people side, the HR side, the L&D side, and it's all about connection, making sure that you find your people, making sure that you're not alone, even if you might be working in a team and with the having the only person with that set skills inside, I don't know, let's say a location in Poland, but somewhere across the world there sits Anna Maria and she also does that. So why don't you two come together, right, to exchange and share and feel connected? So it's the whole connection part. And I think you mentioned employee engagement surveys, Olha, and you mentioned satisfaction and all that. So we're going to go back to that later. And the third part, Olha, it's very, I have to say, I absolutely love that. I'd love to hear more about the way you are tapping into education, encouragement, offering that playground for folks, and kind of boosting that for employer branding and the way people are developing their careers. I think that's fascinating. And somehow you manage to get these three big directions that are both very important strategically and marinate them together in these 11 communities. So first of all, kudos to you and all of your colleagues, everyone involved. This sounds like it's a massive undertaking, right? So I just wanted to quickly do a bit of a resume of what you said, because I think there was some really, really good points there. So Max, I'm coming back to you. What do you think was made this kind of, let's say, third attempt more successful? Because the second one, I think you mentioned, that was the three L's, was passionate people that have started the community. And so my intuition is like, that's what we want. We want passionate people to start the communities, right? So we're constantly talking with Sophie at Mapping Ties the difference in between grassroots communities, which is like started by the people, by just like passion, and then we have the strategic, like top-down communities, which are started by HR, employee branding, and so on, because they serve a business purpose. And so far, the argument speaks for the grassroots, like this group of passionate people that it's coming together to start to change something and do something. And it's interesting you said that that one was, and it kind of had to, actually moved into this more strategic part. So tell us more about that. How was that for you?
I would say there are several keys for success in this attempt. The first one is leadership support. So this entire initiative was driven from VP level, with the support of VP level, and I would probably even underline with active support, not just, guys, here's a budget, do whatever you want. No, it was a huge support with pretty much transparent goal setting. And this time we finally applied some project management approach. So not just only passionate people that are trying to make some kind of a startup. No, it was written as a project with stakeholders, with project management plan, with risk analysis, and so on. Because when initial idea came to reorganize 18,000 people to such communities, passion is not enough. So should be some patient people, drivers, for sure, but there should be some cold mind people, administrators, who will try to put some rails, to implement some rules, and sometimes even to act as, like a parents. Guys, you need to stick to those rules. We have some kind of commitments. We have some deadlines. So we need to actually act as a project. And I think that cooperation of those factors made this result. And by the way, again, kudos to our HR and employment branding team. They stepped into this exercise pretty much proactive. And they also were the part of project management approach. So they also participated as stakeholders and as people who have some commitments, who should support our subject matter experts with all their experience and knowledge. Because again, we need to underline here that people tend to keep the status quo. And it's always pretty much hard to hesitate them, to overcome resistance, and so on. And understanding of people's mind, of how people behave, from our HR team was also a crucial aspect, because they provide us with some guidance and some workarounds, tips and tricks, how to engage people, how to, trigger their motivation, how to find this motivation. And I would even say that following Simon Sinek concept of golden circles, how to find our why.
Yeah.
And I think we, maybe not 100%, but we are very, very close to identify this why. And that, as a background for the success, provided us with the results we have right now. And I think we will not be very shy, to be honest. I think for last more than a year, or even almost 2 years, we did a great success with starting from almost zero to a lot of proactive people who are contributing to company life. I think it was a huge success, and for sure we are hoping to proceed further with this success.
So I'm hearing around more or less 2 years, you said, that kind of this transition went, or this project from where it started to where you are today. And obviously we know community building, it's never done. It's work
Yes.
in progress, right? So here's what I take away. There seems to be a magic. Yes, the passion has to be there, and you need a set of people that are really believing into something. They're the ambassadors. They are the people that have the passion, the drive, the motivation, the cheerleaders, the believers, right? But at the same time, I've heard some very pragmatic bits and pieces to it, like pragmatic puzzle pieces. One, do not underestimate sponsorship from leadership. The higher up, the better. And I love how you said they actually were involved and not just said, oh, just build me something, right? So we have stakeholder leadership buy-in and involvement, like actually standing behind this project. And second of all, the project management part to it, maybe let's say a strategic way, a step-by-step way to move things forward. So yes, we want to do stuff, but the project management part, and we're motivated and passionate, but we still need to put a stick in the ground somewhere. We need to put a direction. We still need to put deadlines. We still need to put tasks. Someone has to chase us, because it's hard to move so many people into one direction, especially when they don't like to challenge the status quo, which I guess no human likes, right? We're creatures of our habits. Beautiful. So thank you for that trip down memory lane, Maksym. I think that's very valuable for listeners to go back and understand, oh, how is it that you actually build the community, and what are the key ingredients? Now, let's come back to today, right? So with 2 years, you said that, hey, there's no need to be shy. We're rocking this. We're doing pretty great. So I love that. After so much hard work, there's also the reward. So pat on the back. What keeps the community busy? So if we go again on the vertical, what is it that you're driving, Maksym? What type of events, what type of gatherings, what type of projects, how is the community advancing that capability and the learning and the customer excellence? And then we pass over to Olga to understand more about that horizontal verticals and what are the projects that she's kind of bringing cross communities for employer branding and HR and connection. So Max, let's start with you and see where we land.
Okay. So maybe I will be mostly focusing on project management community. So we are trying to do, let's call it, offline and online activities. So with offline, for sure, it's some kind of blog posting. It's sharing some, let's call it paper-based stuff. And it shouldn't be, by the way, just articles which person should create. We have a lot of resources, and people can reshare something from external sources. It's okay, because the idea is to share this knowledge. And such kind of articles, blog posts, they are triggering some discussions. And during those discussions, we identify some active contributors and we approach them. As I usually do, hey man, I see that you are actively discussing some topic. Do you have something to say about that? And he said, yes. Okay, let's have some small talk, some event. And we are asking this person just to join to our regular meetings. So as of now, we have the cadence of some meetings. I call them PM small talks, actually. And we are covering a lot of topics. Sometimes we have predefined topic. So for instance, our next meeting will be tomorrow, actually, and will be about some latest news from Project Management Institute. So I will share some news. Next one, we will discuss lessons learned and how lessons learned can provide some maturity to project management, and so on and so forth. Sometimes we have free agenda. Let's discuss everything you want. Sometimes people come with their questions. I have some issue in my project. Can you give me some piece of advice how I should process it? Our latest achievement, I would say, we did conference. So full day conference with 8 speakers, internal 8 speakers and 1 external speaker. So people from the company, they were not forced to do that. So we just sent the message that, guys, we would like to do quite a new event in Luxoft history. Would like you to be the part of the history. And actually they said, yes, we would like to be the part of the history. And it was quite an interesting, and we have more plans to do. I already discussed with some colleagues that I'd like to have mix of offline and online event, somewhere maybe in summer or maybe later. We have some projects. For instance, let's create some database of some knowledge. For instance, what about agile practices? Let's just create a web portal where we will collect the information about some agile practices, and people will not be forced to Google something. They will be able just to find something verified by subject matter experts within the company. So if I open the page about, planning poker, I will definitely know that someone reviewed this page and this information is worth to be used. So it's some kind of small part of what we are doing, and for sure some kind of a daily communication. I think we have pretty much interesting activity as a boot camp, but I'd like to pass it to Olga because she is magic person in this activity, and I think that with her support, it will never be so successful.
Oh, Olga is the bootcamp queen. We'll get to the bootcamp in a second. Maksym, I'm hearing this kind of, it's a combination of, when you say online and offline, online means we are together. So we have to come together in the same space. And offline is we are doing them asynchronously. So things like curating content, like relevant content for us and sharing them, resharing it from externally, or creating content. And I'm curious to hear Olga probably say more about these articles and why are we writing them and where do we post them and what's happening with them. I love the events. I love how you're playing with formats as well. And I absolutely love your approach to people. Would you like to make history? Like if someone approaches me and says, do you want to make history? I'm going to be like, yeah, man, I want to make history. Right? So I think that was a great tactic to invite folks to build something big and something of importance and something that we haven't done before. So it's really exciting, and it kind of just drives that motivation and that collective intelligence and collective brain. Olga, what about you? How do things look like from where you're at? And tell us about those boot camps.
Yeah, thank you. So I wanna continue about this PM conference because it really was a success. Why exactly? Because we had almost 1,000 unique visitors. Almost 1,000 unique visitors. Definitely, we have like almost 2,000 members of the PM community, but we have also another people in the company who are interested in project management, like me, for example, or my colleagues or any other like colleagues in internal services and so on and so forth. So we advertised it among almost all the company, and we receive almost 1,000 unique viewers. So kudos to Maksym for such a great initiatives. And it was our first conference, but we really want to continue with other communities as well. So I also want to add to how we bring people to life. So as Maksym mentioned, we really understand. I mean, each community is different. I support 4 different communities, and all of them are different. But we have some, similar stuff. For example, we have these events Maksym mentioned in each communities. In some like regular events. In some communities, it's like on a bi-weekly basis. Bi-weekly basis. In some communities, it's on a monthly basis, and sometimes it can, like Maksym mentioned, we have a topic and we have an expert from the company or outside company who share his findings on the topics. And sometimes it's just a discussion, and some we just discuss what people want to discuss. But we also, in some communities, we also try to do some other activities. So the members choose the topic of the month. We call it like the topics of the month. So they proposed like in 5 probably topics, and they choose the one they want to go deeper this month. And we build all the content, all activities, all events around the topics. And we say to them, okay, so this time we are discussing these topics, and we try to find speakers who are the best in this topic. We are trying to share knowledge about it, some articles, posts, whatever. All around this one, it also helps people and these experts who want to share stuff to structure their work. Yes, they know, okay, so this month we're talking about that, so I will try to find some interesting content, interesting idea about that. It really helps. And we also do some fun activities from time to time. For example, on New Year we have a special event for New Year, and some challenges on our community groups, and just bring people together. We also try to find some kind of like a share the failure event, or maybe more well known as a fuck up nights, if we can say it. Yes, we also try to do something extra for the professional holidays, for example, which is important for these particular communities. And this is how we add more life to it, and try to keep them busy. Well, yeah, and what about like a Tech Influencer Bootcamp? So I completely agree with Maxim. We are doing great. We really we do our best to do great, but still we have challenges. As I don't want we to, to be like a perfect community. Oh, we know everything. We've done it. Like we are all. No, it's not. We still always trying to increase the engagement within the community members, and we're always trying to increase the number of active contributors, because it's volunteering. Yes, so it's sometimes you have like a 3 months of a free agenda, let's say. Yes, you can dedicate your time to the communities, but then some important projects, and you need to stop your community's activities for probably a few months, half a year. And what gonna we do without them? Yes, they just disappear. So we need more people to be active there. That's why we thought, okay, what we're gonna do? What the problem, about it? So why people are not contributing to actively? So we did the research, and we realized that, yeah, obviously it's a lack of time, as always. But we understood that some of them are just shy, and maybe they, have this imposter syndrome. We need to help them to overcome. That's why the first. And the second one, and the more important probably, they have this lack of skills, of soft skills. Yes, because they're techie people. They're really good at what they're doing, but they may be shy, or they just don't have enough experience of presenting their thoughts, of writing the articles. Yes, they write code, but they do not know how to structure their article correctly. To how to use social media. Most of them do not like social media, or are not a big fan of it. And we really understand we need to engage them somehow, and to educate them, and just to show them what it is, and how they can use it for their benefit, and how this can benefit their careers. That's why we developed this Tech Influencer Bootcamp. It's a month's educational program. We make it as practical as possible, but we also do it like a motivational event. So what we actually done, we invited top tier speakers from Luxoft. It's like a vice president level, yes, so C-level persons who share their expertise, how they grow and develop the particular skills. Because all of them were techies from the beginning. They start as an engineer, or maybe something around that, and then they switch to management and leadership, and they they really can show people and ensure people that it's possible, even if you don't have like a natural capabilities, natural talent to this. You may still practice and do it and rock it, and and then achieve it. It's from like one big pillar, I would say. It's a motivational event from truly inspiring speakers. We also did it practical. So we really suggest them the task, which is very, very practical, like to write the articles, yes, but not any articles. Yes, they need to think about what their colleagues are usually ask them. So what topics should be very relevant to their expertise and so on and so forth. Then they need to reuse this content. They have to promote their content, and they learn how to promote their content using social media and how to write this post. Yes, how to use, because we use Workplace. I hope it also will be useful for our listeners. So we use as a platform, we use a Workplace. It's a social media tool from Facebook for internal communication. So you have the internal social media, say, and we have a group there for communities as well. So they learn how to promote it. Then they learn how to deliver their message, their ideas during the actual, tech talks and events. And then they realize what community is about, what they can do, how they can deliver knowledge. They also have this networking part, and it's also like an entertaining a bit. After the first pilot version, we had quite a few great active contributors in different communities, and now we are in the middle of the second version of these events, and we have even more people joined, and the feedback is great, and so they love it and they really better understand. So what I trying to say, it's better to engage them into something and show that the communities is very useful and beneficial for them, and not just and it works better than just to send an email and said, okay, we have these communities, join, have fun, enjoy.
Max, do you want to add something here?
Yeah, I'd like probably to add also that the one important outcome from the previous bootcamp is that during the current one, people who participated, they became mentors for new people. So we have this longevity, I would say, of the success, and they can provide with their actual feelings. So how they did this stuff, and moreover, our previous bootcamp was pretty much with tough deadlines, and it actually forced people to have some rush. Right now, we changed a bit the approach, but again, this uh, availability of people who passed it to new people is quite an interesting opportunity.
I take two things from this program. I love that you went, like, you were like, oh, there's a lack of engagement, people are not engaging, and you went to investigate. And I don't know if you like run surveys, if you talk to people, interviews, how did you find out? Time will always be an issue. We're at work, we have stuff to do, you have deadlines, managers, that will always be an issue, right? But there was something deeper here for your target audience, let's call them your colleagues that are part of the communities. And that was really, and I don't think that happens only with our tech colleagues, to be honest. I think that happens in many other departments as well. Is this, we're not used to be in the spotlight, right? We're not used to, and actually to write well or to talk well or to be on camera or to host a talk or to put yourself out there, that's a big deal for many of us. It's not an easy task. And to learn that you got that, like you reached that piece of information in the first place, I think that's awesome. But then you took it out and you turn it into this boot camp. And this is the second piece that I really like about it. It goes beyond Luxoft and their role there. It's about their own career progression. So it's you as a professional, and this year you might work here and you're all colleague, but these skills and everything you're learning and how you're positioning yourself on the market and how you're learning to share your knowledge on LinkedIn or on Facebook and on social media and whatever, and talk at conferences and whatnot, it builds your personal branding beyond Luxoft and being deployed here. So suddenly you're not just one of the colleagues, one of the employees. You are an expert, a thought leader in this industry. And I think that's fantastic because they will take this experience with them no matter where their careers is taking them, inside the company or outside the company. We know how that works, right? But I really like it has a very deep personal impact. And what you added, Maksym, with we're bringing people in, I really like. It's a very natural way. So I can tell that you're a great community builder. You have a natural way to pull people in. You saw someone shared something. Hey, do you want to share? Hey, do you want to do this? Hey, do you want to? And the way you're kind of bringing the people from the first bootcamp in the second bootcamp, there's a lot of collaboration, I feel, with the members and you with the department, Olha's department, and you from the business and the people in the community. There's a lot of collaboration, and there's a lot of good co-creation where you're building things together. And I think that adds to it. And like that's very hard to do. I'm so happy we got you on the show because I think this is a great example. And I know Olha was like, we have things to improve. We always have things to improve for sure. But I think it's also good to applaud the stuff that you have done really well so far. So as we are approaching slowly the end, I really want to close off with, and I have so many more things to ask you. So maybe we'll get you back on the pod in the next season as well. So I'm curious, maybe Maksym, you said we are doing a great job, right? And I can tell that you are working on engagement and you're improving things and you're looking at numbers. So when it comes to, I think we struggle so much with proving the value of communities and what is the impact and what does it actually do. So now we're 2 years at it. What's the change that we see? Like what is where did we start at? Where are we now? So what can you tell me in terms of impact? Where do you see that impact? What do you report back to business? What are some of the changes that you're seeing? And that can be very hardcore numbers, but I'm also interested to see, are you capturing somehow quotes and feedbacks and testimonials, like very human, unquantifiable pieces of information that showcase that it is impacting your colleagues' lives and it is helpful? Maksym, I'll pass this first to you.
I would say that we implemented both qualitative and quantifiable stuff. For instance, as a part of our community program, we are supporting some certifications. So if the person, let's put it in a simple way, from project management community would like to be a PMP, project management professional, we will help with some reimbursement of some costs. So if person successfully pass the training. The next point, we are developing our internal training programs based on the need we identify. So for instance, one of our best examples, our recruitment team approached PM chapter or PM community because recruitment team is the front line when we are talking about candidate screening and so on. And it asks us, we would like to have some understanding of Java, .NET, project management, and so on. And under PM community, we created a training program, not only for recruitment team, but for all non-technical project managers, just to provide some basics. And we already have maybe several dozens of people who passed those trainings. And it means that they increased their level of understanding of what their teams actually do. What else? We see and hear a feedback that, guys, thanks to some of your learning programs, I started to communicate better with the client. Because finally, I can formulate my thoughts in a better way. I use some more professional language, and it brings some transparency and increase our value to the client. So we cannot for sure calculate everything because it's hard to understand which part of revenue was generated by communities, for sure. But definitely, we see that feedback even from our upper management, C-level management, it's also quite good. Because I would be honest here, not everyone expected that this initiative would fly in such a good way. I wouldn't say that people were against, no. But, I know this is another attempt to do some communities, guys. We already passed it a couple of times. Let's not waste our time.
A healthy
And
dose of skepticism, right?
yes,
Let's put
yes.
it like that.
And those skeptics, they are actually our motivation because we would like to, beat them and to prove that the way we do this initiative can bring value. And we already see some people already came as, guys, you did a great job. I don't expect it, but you actually exceeded my expectations. Good for you. So for us, it's also quite an important feedback. So it means that we are on the right way. There is still a lot stuff to do. I think even more than we already did. But the way is already here. And as Mandalorian said, the community, that's the way, first of all. So we need to build this way and follow our why and follow our dreams.
I love that. And I like how you said like some of the things we can quantify, like we can measure. It's very hard to see where is the impact in customer satisfaction or in sales, etc. But and also, how do you measure human connection? How do you measure better collaboration and breaking down silos, right? And I think connection and breaking down silos and bringing people closer together, those are very positive, not side effects, actual effects of communities. Olga, what else are you looking at? Any other metrics you're looking at from
Yeah,
where
I
you're
also
standing?
yeah, I also want to add some stories. So I've got a feedback from one of the community member. He joined our. He just want to thank you for us delivering this regular events in test engineering communities. And so he just joined the event because he found the topic relevant, and he asked his question in the end of the event, and he received like three different ways of solving his issue. And what he said to me is that he tried all three of them and like found the best one, and he eventually implemented that stuff and received very positive feedback from his clients. So when I heard the stories, I always, save the screenshot and so on and so forth, because it's the proofs we looking for to then introduce to our, leadership. And yeah, definitely. And we also do regular, I think annually, technology community survey feedback. We've just finished it for the previous year, and we haven't, sum up the results yet. But I've learned, we asked the question something about, so how the community influenced your work. So share the stories, and we will, somehow promote it. And we received a couple of interesting stories. We will then put it into testimonials, into stories, and then we'll promote it on a, all chapter level to make sure other people realize that they can also achieve such results. And they were talking about, yes, that's what Maksym mentioned. I've learned something new, and then when my clients suggested to move from one technology to another technology or implement some other tools than we used, I were capable of do it faster, and they received like positive feedback about that. And so similar kind of stories. So we communicate with each other, with other employer branding experts, with community leads. We gather those stories, and we try to turn them into testimonials for promotion. What other we measure, but it's not probably the impact, but more for the understanding of how we are doing and how to, whether what we are doing is right or not. So we definitely measure the engagement of the events and on our community groups, and we also I think so. And the number of active contributors. So we try to increase that number as well to make sure that what we are doing right.
All right. This is fantastic. There's so much. I absolutely love it that it was really practical. You brought so many examples, and I think we can all, I can already envision the way the community works internally. And I know that we're a bit over time. Give me a thumbs up if you have 2 more minutes. Is someone waiting for you in a call somewhere? Because I can't let Max go off this call without asking this question. And I hear this kind of, I don't want to say struggle, but it's always, how do we get volunteers? How do we get people to, to be front runners? How do we put people at the steering wheel in leadership position and all that? And here we have him doing an amazing job in this role. So Max, I guess my question is, how do you find these people, like the profiles, the people like you, in order to take this? How does that process look like? Like, do you have to apply? Has someone pitched it to you? Did you raise your hand? So how can one become a leader for a chapter? And then what are you getting? Like, what are the rewards? Are you getting paid for it? Is this a different role? And how are we rewarding the volunteers? A lot of people are telling me, well, Anna Maria, I don't know how to reward the volunteers. We find them, or sometimes we struggle to find them, but then how do we keep them? How do we keep them happy? Because after a couple of months volunteering, they'll be like, okay, like, what else? Like, what am I gaining out of this? So tell me a bit about that process of these leads and the volunteers. How are they picked, and what do they gain out of it? Why should anyone care to do this?
Yeah. So sure, some rewarding should be in place. People, even if they have some volunteering approach, it still requires some, satisfaction in something tangible. So chapter leads are being additionally paid to run the community because actually it's another part of the job. So it's extra time because we all chapter or all community leads, they do their job with clients, with projects, and so on. So for sure, this extra time should be paid. And for chapter community leads, this part is quite clear. For all other people who would like to participate, so within the company, we have some internal currency. So we call it loyalty points, and a person who contributes can earn those points, and those points can be exchanged for something tangible, like T-shirts, backpack, and so on. And we are trying for sure to provide those loyalty points to our volunteers. But I wouldn't say that only because of those loyalty points and some other perks people join. For instance, when I was asking people to join the history during our conference, literally no one asked me about any perks for that. But they had to spend their time to prepare the speech because I was pretty much picky person. I asked everyone to share with me their topics, their decks in advance. I reviewed each and every deck. I provided them with the feedback. We changed some stuff because I wanted this events to be as much professional as possible. But again, no one asked for some perks. I would say that I'm trying to reflect some kind of metaphor. And if you watch with pretty much famous movies with Tom Hanks, Forrest Gump, Maybe you remember that part when he was just running and people just joined. And in community building stuff, it's important that someone should take this run and people will join. Someone will join for perks. It's okay. It's definitely okay. They are exchanging their knowledge to with perks. Someone will join because they would like to express something. They want to be the part of the community. But definitely some people should start this movement again to hesitate the status quo, to show that there is another way and you can be the part of this way. So be the part of the history, and history will revert back to you with some perks and other stuff.
Fantastic. Yes, there we go. Lots of hearts and a beautiful metaphor. By the way, I'm so happy that the movie popped to your head because that was great. You need some front runners, and I think the key is always people are motivated by different things, right? There will always be those that are like, oh, is there some money involved? Is there some points? Can I get something out of it? And that's absolutely fine. Nothing wrong with that. But there will be people like, I want to contribute because I want to learn. I want to grow my profile. I want to grow my confidence. I want to increase my profile internally because I'm actually looking towards a promotion in the coming 2 years, right? I want to grow. I want visibility. I want to be cheered on. I want my work to feel valuable. So you're saying when you're running, some people will join you, but then there will be people on the sidewalks and they will just cheer for you. And that's also giving you the boost, right? They don't even have to run next to you if they can just cheer genuinely, like, woohoo, cheer for you as you're making that progress. So I think it's beautiful to play in this human motivation and the fact that we're all motivated by different things. And it's good to have it's like an ecosystem or like a palette of different ways to reward people so that they can pick and choose. So that's it. Otherwise, I'll keep on talking and I'll keep on asking. You two were amazing. Thank you so much for the time, for being so generous with your insights and for sharing. And I'm looking forward to continue the conversation. And thank you very much. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you, Anna. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting us. It was a pleasure to talk to you and to share with the community.